Well, President Donald Trump's campaign team is now taking legal action against his former aide, Omarosa Manigault Newman. CBS News has confirmed the Trump campaign has filed arbitration against the former White House aide, accusing her of breaching a 2016 confidentiality agreement about her time working for the campaign. This also comes after Omarosa released another recording overnight, this one allegedly from the 2016 campaign trail. Well, in it, two Trump campaign aides, Katrina Pearson and Lynn Patton, can allegedly be heard discussing potential fallout during the 2016 campaign over an alleged tape of the president using the N-word.
I said, well, sir, can you think of any time that this might have happened? And he said no.
Well, that's not true.
He goes, how do you think I should handle it? And I told him exactly what you just said, Omarosa, which is, well, it depends on what scenario you're talking about. And he said, well, why don't you just go ahead and put it to bed? I don't know what the scandal is. No, he said it. He's embarrassed.
Well, after the release of that tape, Pearson and Patton denied ever hearing the president use the derogatory language. Pearson also stated today, quote, that discussion has nothing other than shifting through unconfirmed rumors regarding the Apprentice tape, and the transcript supports my statement. Well, Omarosa fabricated the story by conflating numerous discussions. Well, this morning, the president upped his attacks on Omarosa, tweeting, when you give a crazed, crying lowlife a break and give her a job at the White House, I guess it just didn't work out. Good work by General Kelly for quickly firing that dog. Joining me now, Sean Sullivan. He's a congressional reporter for the Washington Post. Okay, Sean, I want to start with the president's campaign filing for arbitration against Omarosa. He's already facing multiple legal battles. Why did they decide to go this route?
Well, I think, when you look at the times when former aides, former associates, and others have crossed the president, his tendency, his lawyer's tendency, and his allies' tendencies have generally been to take legal action, to try to move forward with lawsuits, to threaten to sue, and in some cases actually sue individuals over these things. So this is very much in line with the way Donald Trump and his inner circle has dealt with this kind of thing, even before Trump was president.
So Omarosa claims that she didn't actually hear the tape until after she left the White House, or she says she would have left immediately. I want to play a bite for you, what she had to say about why she's doing all this now.
The sad thing is, as we saw with Access Hollywood, it probably won't impact his base. I think that their support is baked in, but it does expose him for the racist that he is.
I mean, she admits it right there. She doesn't think it's going to really affect his base. So why do this and why come forward if it's not going to have any sort of impact on the president?
Yeah, that's the question right now. I mean, it's not totally clear yet what her personal motivations are in this situation. You're certainly seeing an aggressive pushback campaign from the White House, from White House officials, trying to call her credibility into question. And of course, as you played earlier, the president himself now taking to Twitter with some very, very aggressive language against her and trying to directly call her into credit, which again is also in line with the way Trump has dealt with critics over the years. He has chosen, by and large, to single them out personally on social media and speeches and other settings, and to call them out on an individual basis.
So the president is also under fire for calling Omarosa a dog on Twitter this morning. It's not the first time that he's actually used the word to attack someone. I want to play Kellyanne Conway and what she had to say.
Is it appropriate for the president to call a woman a dog?
I think it's inappropriate for people to say that they've never heard the president use certain words while they're here and never tell any of us they have concern about it, and then say it later on.
She never actually answered the question as to why his aides won't address this directly in his exact words. What do you make of the fact that his staffers won't touch that?
Well, I think a lot of staffers realize that this is a very volatile and deeply personal back and forth that we're seeing right now, and they understand that the president, who they report to, has a tendency to stoke controversy with name calling, with labels that he applies to people, and they generally seem to want to steer clear of that controversy, but at the same time, they want to generally defend the president. I think that's what we just heard from Kellyanne Conway right there. But look, it's a difficult balancing act for them to try to achieve.
I want to switch gears for a second. The president's also blasting the Mueller investigation today by quoting actually Fox News guests who are tying the probe to Peter Strzok. We know Strzok was fired yesterday by the FBI. Can he really tie these two situations together at this stage?
Well, you know, this president has for months been seizing on any development that he can to try to cast doubt about Mueller, about his probe. We have long heard him make the argument that this is a witch hunt, that this is a politically motivated effort to go after him, to go after those in his inner circle. This is the latest indication we have that the president still feels that way. And, you know, the next few weeks are going to be a very, very crucial period. What are we going to see, if anything, from Mueller in terms of producing new revelations or charges that might impact this president? I think as we get closer and closer to the November midterms, which are really not that far away right now, there are a lot of Republicans who are nervous, and they look at this situation and say, these midterms are already going to be really tough for us. The president's unpopular. We're bracing for a lot of losses. If there is some sort of Mueller bombshell, that could make things even harder. So Republicans are nervous, and I think when you look at Trump's comments consistently trying to go after the Mueller investigation, it shows that he too may be nervous about what might be announced in the coming months. And
we know that Peter Strzok became a major target for some congressional Republicans. Do you think that his firing will appease them when it comes to these accusations directly against the FBI?
You know, it's possible. We'll see. I mean, Congress is out right now. The Senate is planning to come back to town for an abbreviated August session tomorrow. We won't hear from most House members until after Labor Day. You know, it'll remain to be seen whether these issues come up in terms of town halls. Are these Republicans going to be asked about it? But we'll see, I think, in early September how generally Republicans respond to this, and also respond more generally to the Mueller investigation. How are they going to navigate that in the final few weeks of this midterm campaign?
Before you go, Sean, I want to ask you, the president is also claiming that, and I'm quoting here, if we had a real attorney general, this witch hunt would have never been started. He actually hired Jeff Sessions. So why does he keep ringing that bell over Sessions over and over again?
Yeah, this is something that we have repeatedly seen, and you know, it's a pattern with this president where you've seen him hire people, elevate people, and then later have some not nice things to say about them, later see that relationship deteriorate. And it is remarkable when you think of Sessions and Trump, and you think back to the campaign. Sessions was one of Trump's earliest supporters. He helped him make inroads in some of the southern states where the president did well when he was campaigning in the primary. And of course, you're right. I mean, he handpicked this person to be his attorney general. And so now I think a lot of people are looking at this situation and saying, you know, is there anybody that the president wouldn't potentially turn his back on, go after in the future? And I think it worries a lot of people who, you know, may be close to Trump right now and may look in the future and say, look, things might be very different in terms of my relationship with him.
Sean Sullivan, thank you so much for joining us, Sean.
Thanks, Rena.